the Suit Man of it
I
all. So I will say from my perspective, I was calling it Suit Man because I thought that's what she had said. And then I did see before this episode aired, there was a clip of Meredith on
mhm.
Alex Cooper's former Call Her Daddy co-host, a new podcast. Her name is Sophia. They're in studio,
Mm.
and the host, Sophia, you're going to take it away from here in a second. She says, "Oh, well, I heard a rumor. This is from a couple seasons ago that Angie K used to hook up with my friend, right? Isn't that what it was? The Suit
Well,
Man,
her ex. Yeah,
her
her
ex.
ex.
Okay,
Yeah.
but did she call it her ex in that
Yes.
clip?
Well, I'm not
Okay,
sure. She might have said friend, but okay. So, have I ever listened to an episode of Call Her Daddy? Of course, the answer to this is no. But early in the pandemic,
never. That's actually an accomplishment.
I mean, I've seen you, I see
You've
clips
never
now,
felt
but
the need to,
like,
to tap into a full episode. Wow. Okay. Good for you.
absolutely not.
Not even when
Absolutely
the drama
not.
was happening.
No, especially with, well, actually, you know
Uh,
what? To be fair, I
I
listened
liked
to
the
Dave
drama.
Portnoy's episode and I listened to
Okay.
Alex's episode, and then I did listen to one episode of Sophia's for her to
Okay.
explain.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that was all
That's it.
that was all like
Yeah, that's a
information
bubble over
gathering.
here. Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. So I start seeing that this drama is happening, and it's like March 2020, and I
Hmm.
just like got really into the drama. And Call Her Daddy was a podcast that rose to fame like really quickly within 18 months of its start. They're like the biggest podcast at Barstool. It was started by this girl named Alex Cooper very early on. She brings her friend Sophia on. They get hired by Barstool. So they're not just like doing a podcast for Barstool, which is different than how you and I podcast. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
get
yeah.
hired for a salary to work at Barstool for this podcast that maybe will work, maybe won't. Surprise ends up being like the biggest thing that's ever happened in podcasting. And so Sophia and Alex go into heavy negotiations with Barstool because when they signed on, they signed over all of the IP and like the rights to the name to Barstool. So even beyond like the contract of like, we have to give you this many episodes, they don't own shit. That was like part of
Hmm.
the deal, which when you think about it, if the podcast doesn't work, they got a $70,000 a year salary to like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the worst trade-off, and they had
No,
no idea.
but honestly, when I heard about this thing, like I'm on a network and I'm like, I have to keep all my IP. Like that's
Yes.
I worked for
Yes.
Yahoo. I
Oh,
worked for Yahoo before. I didn't own any of I made a show for them, didn't own it. I had to leave it.
yep.
So,
Yep.
yep, it
Yep. It's
happens.
a hard lesson to learn, and
Hmm.
especially when the brand isn't anything when you start. So
Yeah.
Sophia, so all that to say, Sophia had a boyfriend that was an older guy, and she was not using his name and kind of talking about him like he was like a sugar daddy because their thing was like being slutty and fucking
Right.
guys, and like that was like their big
The,
thing,
the
right?
Glock 3000 over the fuck it's
Yeah,
called, the blowjob technique. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. All of it. Like it's all about cheating on guys and like getting guys to pay
Hmm.
for shit and staying super thin so guys like you. Like it's really gross and toxic. But Sophia starts seeing this guy and he becomes known as Suit Man. And I can't even think of, I think his first name is Peter. He was an executive or like a producer that worked for HBO Sports. So he was like in
Oh.
the world, but not totally. Remember, this is 2019-ish, right? So they go in 2020, early 2020 is when they're like, they have 2 years left on their contract, but remember, they know own no IP. So Suit Man starts being like, how much money are you guys making? And they're like, oh, well, this much and this much. And he goes, how much merch did you sell? How many ads are you selling?
Hmm.
Did you know Barstool's making $5 million a year off the two of you? And between merch and bonuses, you each made $250,000 this year. You know what? Like doing that. Like, and
Hmm.
he was right. Like industry standard wise, it wasn't normal because they came on as employees. And that's where it's like they didn't join a network. They were hired by Barstool to create content. So that's kind of like the very important part. All of that to
Hmm.
say, Suitman essentially convinces them that you two are the talent, right? Fuck the brand. Okay, we can't take the IP. Fuck it. And by the way, the IP includes the RSS feed, which is, the fountain
Huge.
at the end
That's
of the
the
rainbow.
gold
That's
mine. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the gold mine. You need the RSS feed because you need the people who subscribed and listened one time and never played your episode again. Like
Hmm.
like that auto downloads every week. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Yep.
Like
That's it.
that's how podcasts work. It's just what it is. And so he Suit Man and the girls, by the way, at the same time are also really selling themselves as like girl bosses
Mm-hmm.
and we're
Mm-hmm.
in charge and we're broke, but we're going to be great. You know what I mean? Just like not a picture of someone with a serious executive boyfriend who is like guiding their career. Like it just, I don't, fans didn't understand that at the time. And it's kind of important how they like react. So what essentially happens is Alex and Sophia stop recording for Barstool. Um, and they're going to go to Wondery. And Barstool's like, all right, go fuck yourself because you don't own the IP. Like, you, no, like, you can't do that. But they see how much money they're losing, not putting out Call Her
Mm.
Daddy episodes. So Dave Portnoy gets desperate and essentially calls them in and gives them what they call the rooftop deal, the offer of a lifetime, which is stay with us for 2 more years and you get the IP and the RSS feed, which they'd had no rights to whatsoever.
Mm.
We will restructure the contract. You're going to get way more money, way bigger bonuses because they were right. They were not getting paid enough, right? Like they deserve to be paid
Right.
more based on
Of
what they were
course.
making. And so Alex leaves there being like, hell yeah. Like that's it. Like we did it. Where Sophia and Suitman are like, no, no, no. We don't want to work for Barstool and we're the talent. Fuck the IP. And Alex had the foresight to be like, not fuck the IP. Like, no, the IP is everything. Like she, and that's always why I was kind of on her side, if you will, because like to me it was such the obvious business decision.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
you
Like
need the feed.
suit man,
What
the big business guy is like advising her very
to go to
poorly.
Wondery, like you know what I mean?
He
Even
has
in
the right questions
2020.
initially, but like this sort
It,
of direction, this fork in the road, he chose the wrong direction.
exactly. Like it was dumb what they did because they really didn't have a ton of leverage. Well, I guess it was smart because in the end, like they get this great deal, and what happens is Alex assumes that they're gonna take it. And then she realized Sophie and Superman keep asking for more and they're upping the ante more and more. And she at that point decides that Sophia is never taking this deal. And she and Superman are actually gonna tank this deal. Um, and so that's when she kind of gets in touch with lawyers. Her parents that are, you know, upper middle class professionals are stepping in, advising her on taking notes and you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that's when
Hmm.
they kind of move from like, we're not totally sure what's going to happen to Alex is like, there will probably be a lawsuit here. Like, and so she essentially goes to bar school, says, I want to do it. I don't want to do it with Sophia. Eventually, Sophia comes back and is like, can I do it? And they're like, no. So Alex gets to keep Call Her Daddy, which we all know has now made her I don't know, $1 billion. Like,
Yeah.
what's the number now?
Or
One
yeah,
billion
exactly. Yeah.
dollars. Like,
Talk about the girl
and
boss treatment. She's on the cover of every fucking financial magazine. Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
So the way this all comes out though is that Dave Portnoy in his fashion just gets on their feet and puts out an episode just detailing all of this. That Alex puts out an episode detailing all of this. So Suit Man becomes public enemy number one because
Mm.
he's the man that's broken up Call Her Daddy. If
Hmm.
he didn't come in here and break up Call Her Daddy, we would still have our best girls together, which is like not true. I think in the long run, you know what I mean? They were
Yeah,
sloppy
in her
20
document,
somethings.
and also in her documentary, it's like she talked about how
Yeah.
they basically weren't friends by the end. Yeah,
Yeah. They were roommates in their early 20s, drinking a lot. Of course they stopped being friends. Like
right.
that's tales old as time. You know what I mean? And it's just, I think hearing the suit man of it all was very wild to me because it's one of those things that's like if you know you know and if you don't like there's truly no reason whatsoever to know this, but essentially this man is responsible for Sophia. Okay, I think the Spotify deal was 100 million and we know or not, the Sirius deal was 100 million and Spotify was 60, and Alex did not have to split that with Sophia.
Mm-mm.
So he is now known, you know, and there's obviously there's outside opinions, and a lot of people really strongly believe that Alex like totally pushed Sophia out. I personally don't agree with that, but whatever, everybody's opinions. And but at the end of the day, I think what most agree on is that Sophia took bad advice. And I think there's a version that's like, yeah, she listened to her boyfriend and she lost out on $80 million. Or it's like, well, you know, it wasn't her boyfriend's fault. Like she made the decisions. Like
Hmm.
we can empower her or we can give him all of the
Yeah,
responsibility. Either way, I think everyone, even if you believe, no matter whose side you're on or what you believe, I think most people agree that Suit Man himself is the catalyst for Alex Cooper having $160 million.
right. And it's like one, Sophia is a much less compelling personality, I think, compared to Alice Cooper to
Much less. She
begin with.
also
And so, like,
didn't work
and
as
so,
hard.
no, yeah, didn't work as
A
hard.
million
If
things.
you believe
Yeah.
it, we saw in the documentary, and also, like, her show was never going to work, just her, first of all,
Never.
and the other thing is that, like, all this drama that you just explained very well, thank you very much for your service. You could argue that Call Her Daddy never gets as big as it's
Never.
gotten.
Never.
It
It
doesn't. It
doesn't.
doesn't get. It doesn't get as valuable and as sort of
Mm-mm.
zeitgeisty without the drama, without the split.
It stays the toast. It stays Lady
Totally,
Gang. It
totally.
stays
Yeah,
a very
which is still
successful.
very
Please
good,
leave toast
and
numbers.
yeah, it's
Like,
like those are cult followings and the whole thing. But
yeah.
you have to break out of the cult following. Yeah.
I to get paid $60 million and then $100 million. It's
No,
just
it's
kind of going back to Wendy and Eddie. It's like the difference between like being successful and I mean
and fuck you money. Yeah.
I mean truly Alex Cooper like does not deserve this in any way, shape, or form, but like we have to
So
give her
so
credit.
so
She
Liz,
like
can I ask you a question? When Lisa said suit man
mhm.
at the
I thought
winery.
Suit Man, but so I did see people online talking about soup and suit, and so I went in kind of like, you know what I mean, with that already in my mind. I didn't go in blind, but I had vaguely remembered. I thought in my head it was Angie H that had like done something with Suit Man, but then
And
I
how
think I remembered it was like Demi from Real Soul.
from
Secret
Secret Lives.
Lives, who maybe had her husband, I think, dated Angie H at one
Yeah,
point
yeah, yeah, you're right. He
because
was,
he's like 80. He's
I think he
very
was
old.
married to her. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, are they talking about two men? Oh, the one important thing. Sophia's from Utah. She's from Salt Lake City. And when this all
Mm.
happens, all of the drama, her and Suit Man decamp to Salt Lake City and spend a year living in Utah.
Oh, that's a really important
Sorry.
detail, Liz.
The most important detail of this all. Her parents, Sophia has wealthy parents. They're living in the basement in like the in-law suite of her parents' McMansion. And I guarantee remember what came out in the fall of 2020? The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Like, and or 20 early
And so that's
2021.
where the allegation comes from that Suitman's in Salt Lake City and Lisa's saying that
You know they're going to
and
the same parties. How many
right,
people like
right. So
who
I'm looking it
Sophia would
up.
probably got invited everywhere.
Meredith was on Sophia Franklin's podcast in October of 2023, so 2 full years ago. And there's that clip that made it the rounds this week where it feels like Sophia's almost trying to give Meredith the tea, but then Meredith gets sidetracked
Meredith doesn't understand her, no.
talking about her then like really tense relationship with Angie, and so like Sophia starts this clip where she's like, well, my ex or my friend used to hook up with Angie. That's her allegation. And so then it's like you think about what Lisa, it's like, so this is, I guess this rumor is out there, but yeah.
That's
So
by the
that's
way,
how it all comes full circle.
that is the only way I want Meredith to be receiving information. I want her to have simply no idea that she is not picking up on something greater. The person like trying to drop a subtle hint. That's so funny to me.
Oh my gosh. Well, that for everybody listening, that's the full explanation. That's how we get to Suit Man. That's how we also get to, I mean, it's also like this is like kind of like a lit grenade, It's like
Well, it is because it's the difference between Lisa saying something that is just fully made up and Lisa
mhm.
repeating a rumor. And at the end of the day, those are two different things, right?
Yeah.
They have similar consequences. We can discuss bringing stuff onto the show. We can discuss bringing stuff on camera. But in my opinion, and I've always felt this way, I do think there's a difference between a housewife straight up making something else, i.e., Giselle and Chris, where Giselle just made that up. Like that wasn't a rumor, that
Hmm.
Giselle just like made up something that happened fully, right? And so, like, I do. I'm sorry, I totally lost my train of thought.
You
Oh,
said there's
making
a
just like,
difference between
yeah,
making
there's
up
just a difference. Like Lisa
and
repeating
hearing a
something that,
rumor
like,
she'd
repeating
heard.
something that what that was very clearly said by somebody else. You know what I mean? Like,
So do you think that
it's not
Lisa's
great,
repeating
but
this?
it's
I have
different.
a question. Is your read on it that Lisa's repeating the Suit Man thing because she saw it on the Meredith podcast episode? She's seen this
Yeah,
clip,
because
somebody sent
somebody
her,
sent it.
or she
Yes.
heard this completely separately from the clip. You think it's from the podcast?
I think it's from the podcast. I
Okay.
do. And even like I haven't listened to the clip. Even if they don't say Suit Man, what I think
She
probably
says Suit Man,
happened
I'm pretty
is
sure.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because what I think what would also happen is somebody who's watching that like knew would send it to Lisa and be like, did you know her ex-boyfriend Suit Man? You know what I mean? Like, I think Lisa still could have gotten the information even if it wasn't necessarily directly from that episode. Like somebody put two and two together probably for her.
Yeah.
And I think that's what she was doing. And it is different for her to totally make up that somebody's husband had an
Oh
affair
yeah.
and to or that somebody had an affair with someone and to bring up something that was said on a podcast by somebody
Ugh.
else.
I want to gab.